we're not going to charge. You don't have to write Dear Retirement a check. We are going to do this because it's what we do. It's what we enjoy. Hey, we're back. Welcome to the Dear Retirement podcast.
Yeah. Today we're going to discuss 10 questions that people or consumers should ask about annuities or smart money accounts.
Yeah. So we're going to just hit some questions, some random questions or things that we've heard about in this space. So one of the biggest ones, and you can tell me what you think, but I think one of the biggest ones is, helping someone understand their goals. Like someone will come in and say, well, how is this going to help me reach my retirement goals? Mm-hmm. And I think before we look at that, you have to actually back it up a step and understand what that person's goals are.
Yeah, for sure. No annuity is created equal, so all annuities specialize at different goals or they can accomplish different tasks. So it's important that you understand what you want to do prior to looking at an annuity, which I like to call just a guaranteed contract. Annuity is a contract. So when someone says that they can't stand annuities, or they really just don't understand it.
Right.
Because whenever you're putting together a retirement portfolio, you definitely want to make sure that you have a good portion of your retirement that's going to operate within some guarantees. Guaranteed returns, making sure that your money doesn't drop, you don't lose your principal. These are all great concepts. Right. But there are annuities that do lose principal, and those would be the ones that we primarily don't recommend or wouldn't recommend, or we might do a comparison.
That we've maybe moved some people out of, right? But step one is just understanding, what your goals are, and we've seen some people with goals of travel, wanting to buy an RV, heading out west, or buying a second home, or just there's a lot of different things, and it's so unique to each person's situation. So it's always fun for us to get to know people on that level, because we're not there, we're not at retirement age, but just to know, well, what are your goals? You have worked so hard for this. Now you're retired, what do you want to do? So understanding that helps us then understand what product to look at to help them achieve their goals.
Absolutely. And we have a team of people too. So there's probably 3,000 annuities out there. So we have a team of broker advisors that will help us match the annuity or that will perform and exceed expectations for our client. So it's not one of those things, because we're brokers. We don't just work with one company or one carrier. We work with carriers that have the right accreditation, that are going to give our clients the right guarantees. And the bottom line with guarantees, they have to abide by that contract. So if there's a guarantee to where you get a guaranteed 7% return on the income side, or 8% return on the income side, that carrier, which is $1 billion carrier, they have to follow those rules. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So what's another question that we get sometimes about annuities? As you look at our board of questions.
I guess the next one is, when do I expect to retire? And that's subjective.
It is. Yeah, so that's another one of those very specific to the individual type goal or questions. We have some people who retire early, and we have other people who don't want to retire at all, have no end game in sight, because they just want to keep working and keep building wealth, and then everything in between. So again, it's a very individualized question and approach to this. So
that's what's unique to that person's situation.
Yeah. So the answer to that one is just, it depends. It depends. That one goes in hand with what your goals are too, though. Wouldn't you say, what your retirement, when you retire, lots of times depends on what your retirement goals are. If your retirement goals are just to continue to build wealth, then your retirement age is going to be later. But if your retirement goals are to travel, your retirement age might be earlier, because you might want to spend more time doing the traveling. So those two kind of go together, I would say. So another question we get is, I can't see through the ring light. Do I need supplemental what does that say? Supplemental retirement income. Yeah. It depends.
So
to supplement your Social Security income.
Okay.
I most people, I would say yes, to live the lifestyle that they want to live, are going to need some type of supplemental income. And that's where a lot of these annuities come into play that can create that other stream of income for them so that they can do these other things.
Yeah, there's a lot of seniors that they rely on both partners, both parties, if they're married, Social Security, which acts like a pension because it pays you until you stop living, and then at the time that one of them passes, you only get to choose one. So then and that's what Lauren's talking about. Then you lose, part of your income that you had counted on, and it's amazing. Like when you get a certain income in life, you start to structure your bills around that income. So what we try to do as retirement advisors is try to put another bucket or two aside that they can tap into. It can grow tax-free, and they can tap into it later so it can create more income at different stages in their life.
Yeah, just to have that other stream. And I think it's important to have that because you want to have that flexibility and just to be able to do these things. And if one stream is gone, you want to make sure that you have something else to cover. So,
absolutely. It's a good plan.
Yeah, it's a good question. Where are we? All right, your turn, Ernest.
Do I want my retirement savings to continue to grow? And this all depends on what your plan is, but obviously we all want our retirement savings to grow, so we want to put it into different programs to where it's going to be risk adverse. We know that the market generally auto-corrects every 8 years or so. Obviously 2008, 2016, we're getting into which feels like some instability. So you definitely want to learn, because we have family members that have lost a good bit of retirement savings during those years.
And did not have the necessary plans in place to protect them. And it's heartbreaking to see that, especially from a family member.
Sure. But, you are where you are. You're here now. You're listening to this now for a reason. So there are definitely programs that we could send out to you for you to review, and you can compare it. We'll do a comparative analysis to where we'll compare what you currently have with what we may be proposing. And then I always say, what do I say?
Best idea wins.
Or let's let the numbers make the decision is another thing I say.
That is, I mean, you say a lot of things.
Let's take the emotion out of this, guys, and let's let numbers make the decision, because numbers don't lie. People's feelings, and just because you feel strongly about something doesn't mean that you're right. We say that all the time when we have people over our house. Just because you're confident or you feel strongly about something, that doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're right.
Yep. Very good. So that takes us to our next one, which kind of ties into some of the others that we were talking about earlier. How can an annuity help me reach my retirement goals? And that, you have to take 2 steps back, understanding your retirement goals, clearly defining those, and also when you expect to retire. And then we can look at annuities that are going to help that specific goal, whether it's, having a second stream of income or third stream of income, or, if it's a health-related goal, like having long-term care. There are annuities out there with that long-term care rider, which I think are wonderful for people who did not take a long-term care policy out earlier. And then as you get older, the long-term care is so much more expensive, but if you can add that rider to an annuity, and then in the event that you need it, pull that trigger, and then your annuity pays for your long-term care. And that's, even having someone come to your house and stay with you or your spouse, whoever it is. So that's another way. It really just depends.
Yeah, it could also be legacy. We have clients that they want to make sure that they leave a certain amount to their church, their family, their grandkids, and you can set that up through an irrevocable trust to where you can make sure that your grandkids or kids can't touch it, because if you gave me a certain amount of money at 18, we talk about this all the time for our kids, I would make poor choices. I would make
horrible decisions.
Yeah, I'd make some poor choices. So we can put together different prerequisites to where they have to wait until they get married. They can use it for school, and you would do that with an attorney. But there's a lot of people that want to leave something to their church or something like that. So you can set up your money to do what you want it to do, but you have to have the proper plan.
Yeah, it all comes down to that, the proper plan. So, all right, the next question: does the annuity carry a surrender fee? Quick answer, yes. I mean, but it varies by annuity. and it varies on the number of years. So that is another great it depends question.
Well, it depends, and it really, once again, all annuities are not equal. They're all different. So it really just depends on, because we're talking about a SPIA, that's a single premium immediate annuity, that's going to take off right away.
Right.
Versus if you're in a product that's growing income, and let's say we designed it to grow income for 5 years before you took the annuity. If you needed that money within that first 5 years, there would be a penalty. But a lot of times we don't recommend, and these carriers won't allow you to put everything into an annuity. So you have to, there's something called allocation, or what is it called? Not allocation, but suitability, to where you can only put a certain percentage into an annuity because that money is going to be locked and growing. So,
but if some worst case scenario, if something happened and you had to pull the money out before the surrender period has expired, then yes,
it's still your money. So there might be a penalty. So, and we've had clients that have had to do that. Not too many, but just a couple.
Just one or two.
Yeah, I can think of one.
I can think of one too.
Yeah. So, but it's not something that, and it was still her money. She had to pay a little bit of a penalty, and.
But she'd had it in there for a couple years, so the longer it's in there, the penalty decreases.
I think in her situation, she used it to buy a home.
Yeah.
So and she needed
needed
that,
it
and we calculated the numbers with her, she made we put the numbers side by side so she can make the best decision for her situation, and then she even bought another one.
She did. She turned around right after that. Yeah. But that was a very unique situation.
It was.
So yeah. All right, number 8.
So what if I need to access money in the annuity? So we just talked about that. Yeah.
So that kind of goes into play with number 7. And annuities do allow you to take a certain percentage out per year penalty free. And again, that varies per annuity, per contract, the way it's set up. Usually anywhere between 7 and 10%.
That's right.
So that just depends.
So that also answers that access to money in an annuity. So they still have to abide by the contract rules. And you still have access to, I used to call it checkbook access many years ago because I think at that time it was an Aviva product that actually gave you a checkbook.
Right. Times have changed a little bit. I mean,
but now you just call it up and they'll write you a check, for whatever and they call it a withdrawal.
Yeah, but there are opportunities to take out a certain amount penalty free. Again, it goes back to what do I always say? It depends. It depends on the product. It depends on how it's written and the carrier. So typically between 7 and 10%.
Okay.
For penalty-free
that's
withdrawal.
Fair. That's fair. I'm sure there's a lot of annuities. There's thousands and thousands of annuities. So
don't hold us to this, because if there's one out there that's 11%, don't come back and say you didn't tell me this.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, but we don't know all of them off the top of our head, so it depends. It depends. So the next one, number 9. What should I know about annuity fees and companies offering annuities? Well, we've kind
of touched on this. So, the thing that you want to deal with is you want to deal with companies that have a good BBB or a good rating. You want to make sure that they're financially and fiscally smart. And so we do have preference towards name brand carriers that have been in the marketplace for a while. We also like carriers that are going to give people high returns, and it really just depends on what you want to accomplish, because we have some carriers that we like that will give you floors on the income side that's really high. That means that you're guaranteed to make 7 or 8% annually, no matter what the market does. Now you can still pick your allocation. And then you just want to make sure on those years where everybody's doing really well, that you still have the ability to do well those years too. And some of these products will have a 2% spread. That means that the market does 20, you're at 18, and on those good years. So you don't feel like you lost out when everybody else is doing really well, right?
Yeah. So you're not missing out, but you're also protected.
All about the contract. So and we represent our clients, not the carrier. So I don't have any loyalty to any carrier. I have loyalty to my clients. My job is to make sure that they win when they're sleeping. One of the things that I talk about a lot too is my mentor that brought me into annuities one of the reasons he liked it as a vehicle for retirement is because when you are putting someone in a safe money account or a retirement income account or something of that nature, we are never going to lose our clients' money. We can see them at the grocery store. We can see them at the fair. We're never going to feel like, oh, we got to duck them. No, anytime they call, we call them back. They have a question about their contract, we'll go over it with them and explain it to them. It takes you a year or two just to kind of see how it flows, see how the money gets allocated. But that's one of the best parts about it is we are not ever positioning someone by putting them in an annuity to where they're going to lose money.
Right. We're not going to, not answer a phone call. Right.
Yeah.
But and also, I think it's important to know that we don't charge for a consultation because there are a lot of places where you can go and sit down with an advisor and they're going to charge you, a couple $100 just to start the conversation about putting together a plan for your retirement. We're not going to charge. You don't have to write Dear Retirement a check. We are going to do this because it's what we do. It's what we enjoy. And I don't think I personally don't like that business model.
Well, okay, we do get a referral fee from the company that we put the contract with for you, but it doesn't come from your money.
Right.
So like if you were dealing with a RIA, they get money quarterly, a percentage quarterly, whether your money goes up or down. We get
From your money.
From your money. We get a one-time referral fee
From the company.
From the company for helping you design the annuity. We send it to the company, and then whatever money institution that you're currently using, you would marry that with the contract. So it really protects the consumer. And we always make sure that we go into detail. We don't charge a fee. We don't charge a fee, a sit-down fee. We get asked that all the time.
We do, yeah, especially lately. But yeah, we don't charge a fee.
And this is our model, and it's worked really well for us over the years. And I think a lot of people really appreciate that. And if you want more information, you can reach us at Dear Retirement.
But we're not done yet.
Okay.
We have another question. And I wanted to add one more thing to number 9 about fees, annuity fees. So there are rider fees associated with annuities. If you're adding on, an income rider, there might be like a 1.1% rider fee. Or if there's a long-term care rider on that, if there's some type of rider that you're adding to the annuity, then there's typically a very small fee that's attached to it. But again, that is specific to that annuity. And I can't, I could say just a blanket statement, but it's hard to say that without knowing, what the annuity is. But yes, sometimes there's a fee if you have a rider. So, okay, number 10, then we're done. Does my annuity specialist understand my retirement goals? That all goes back to the very first question of what are my retirement goals. The very first thing we do when someone sits down to talk to us about this, we don't want to look at anything financial. We don't want to talk about anything like this. We want to sit down and we want to take notes and we want to understand what that person's goal is. Would you say that's correct?
I mean, I would say that's correct, but but it's not 100% correct because when we sit down with you, we may want to look at their financial whatever so we can understand currently what they have. So
that all builds into understanding their goals. I think but we're not that.
There's nothing being sold. There's nothing being sold.
Right. That first appointment is us understanding where they are currently and where they want to go.
Yeah, so we look at it like seek to understand. So we really want to make sure that we can thoroughly understand what your situation is so that we can come up with what we call a diagnosis. Remember many years ago when I had some skin issues I was going through, and
how could I forget that?
The doctor put together a protocol that I had to follow. So that's what we want to do.
So tired of that word, but yes.
We can't if we don't understand, then we can't put together a successful protocol that's going to diagnose every single situation, all these scenarios.
Yeah.
So
and then
that's important.
Meet goals. So that's it. That was our 10 questions. I think we hit them all, right? Did we get them all? Okay. We got them all. So if you have any questions or if you want more information, you can find us at dearretirement.com. We're on all the social media platforms. You can find us there at Dear Retirement, DEAR Retirement. And you can always give us a call, 1-800-615-1440. We look forward to talking to you. See you next time.